if I'm a parent at home saying, we don't have that here in our home, we don't expose our kids, so how are kids knowing about it? Yeah.
And you say, okay, well, you know, my kids don't even have a tablet, they don't have a phone. But the thing is that it just takes one student in that classroom to mention something for another student to be curious about it.
Welcome, Linwood Unified School District families, to Beyond the Classroom. We're very excited that you're able to join us today. We are going to discuss a very important topic, discussing substance abuse, awareness, and prevention. And here with us today, we have Hector Bañuelos, our student service specialist, and he'll explain a little bit more of his experience and what he does here in Linwood Unified. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. So what do I do here at Student Services? Well, I do a lot.
Yes.
But the thing that that I do and I love to do all the time is work with youth. And I've been doing it for a very long time. And here at the Linwood Unified School District, I go to school sites, I talk to teachers, I talk to students, talk to admin about one of the things that we're having a lot of problems with, which is mental health. And with mental health comes substance abuse. A lot of students know about drugs nowadays. I know when I was growing up, it wasn't such a thing to talk about, especially when you have elementary students talking about it. So me and Hugo have to go to school sites, and we had to really have conversations with the students. Obviously, not overexposing them. So then you kind of start asking yourself, well, what's the age? What's the group? How do you have that conversation, right? But just listening, talking to them, asking them questions, and then just listening, and then kind of going from there. So me and Hugo, we go to school sites, we table, we give them stuff, we try to get their attention. Tabling. So what we do is that we go there, we set up a table, we'll put our student services
Table cover.
and we started just giving out fact sheets. Many a times we had to get stuff for them to come, so we had to get some sort of incentives for them. But then we're there just to answer questions, and usually they'll see our canopy posted up, and they'll be interested, like, oh, what's going on over there? And then they'll come to us, and then we just start talking to them, just really listening to them, because I feel like a lot of students, a lot of youth have a lot of questions they don't know the answer for, or they assume they know because somebody told them, but they themselves probably are under some sort of substance, or sometimes they don't know why people react the way they do when they're under the influence, or what even do they consider to be a drug nowadays. So when we're just there, like, they're very curious. Youth are very curious.
So you go to the school sites and build relationship with kids.
Exactly.
At the end of the day.
And they do come back, and every time we do go back, they'll remember us.
Yes, and that's a great thing. One of the things that I remember when you started working with us 4 to 5 years ago was your experience at the Boys and Girls Club. You've always had that connection with youth. Which I think is really important, because we all know that youth get into an age that they don't want to talk to their parents. You know, they don't want to talk to trusted adults. So finding the right trusted adult is very important for us here as a district. So we have people like you, our licensed clinical social workers, our social emotional learning specialists, people that have been trained in these fields, so the students can feel comfortable. So another question that I know you're receiving training.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the training that you're receiving?
Yeah.
And with who you're receiving it?
Okay, so I'm going to East Los Angeles Community College.
Okay.
Dr. Martinian is the professor there, but she's also the director, one of the directors for the programs.
Okay.
And it's actually a really great program.
Okay.
It really is. Obviously, we have a huge mental health problem here in the country.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of community colleges, also universities, that are getting into trying to create programs to have a lot of good, like, licensed social workers, like counselors, to be able to know what to do when there's somebody under substance use.
Yeah. And what program is it? What's the name of the program?
The name of the program is Addiction Studies.
Addiction Studies.
Addiction Studies,
That's and it's hard to find specialists that focus on addiction.
Yes.
We were looking as a district And it is difficult to find people that are certified.
Yes.
So
yes.
that is something that you're currently working on.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thank you for joining us today. So let's dive right in. We don't have a lot of time because we know that these podcasts are designed for families that have a full schedule.
Okay.
So our goal is to get in and out, give them the information that they need, and if they need more resources, we'll give them resources at the end.
Of course.
So thank you for joining us today. I want to share with you some data real quick before we get started. So in the last year, here in the United States, approximately 6.9% of adolescents aged 12 to 17, or about 1.8 million youth, met the criteria for a drug use disorder this past year. So this is according to recent data from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health. So I know this is stuff you already know, but we want to make sure the audience knows this as well. And, you know, this is very sad information because in 2023, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, in the United States, there were approximately 81,000 overdose deaths related to opioids, including fentanyl. So we know that as a district, we've had a lot of campaigns to bring awareness on the dangers of fentanyl. So thank you for leading that, because I know you and Hugo have been leading that information. And information is powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you for being part of that. And one more data point, according to the National Institute of Drug Use in 2024, marijuana remains the most widely used drugs in the United States. It is commonly consumed both recreationally and medicinally, right?
Yes.
And has been increasing use as more states continue to legalize it for adult use, right? And those are different topics.
Yeah.
But for today, those are some of the current data drug trends that are happening. So I want to get started with basic information for our families.
Yeah.
Just how do kids know about drugs? That's a very simple question, but nowadays we see younger kids learning about drugs. So if I'm a parent at home saying, we don't have that here in our home, we don't expose our kids, so how are kids knowing about it? What would you say to that?
Okay, so when I'm at the schools, and we're gonna start really low, okay? We're gonna start elementary. We're gonna start really young.
Like what grade elementary?
This was, I believe, a 5th grade class, which I'm gonna talk about right now.
Okay, 5th grade.
So it was a couple 5th grade classes, they all got together, and I asked them, how do you guys know about drugs? And then they said, oh, music. And I was like, okay. And then, I mean, that's how I learned about weed. And so then after I asked them, okay, like what singers? So they were saying, oh, a little somebody, a little this, a little that. And then after one of the students was, after a while, the kids, a lot of the students happened to say, you know, hip hop, rap, or also English music. Then one of the kids was that, oh, I don't listen to that music. And then I said, so this in front of all the students. And then I asked him, like, so what do you listen to? And he says, corridos. And, you know, Linwood Unified happens to have a lot of Hispanic. And so, and then all the kids, you know, he mentioned one of the artists, all the kids, like, got excited.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they forget that within that artist's music,
Yeah.
they also talk about drugs.
Yeah.
And so then it's not an English thing, it's not a Spanish thing. These kids are listening to this kind of music and it's becoming normalized.
Yeah.
And so then they go to parties and same thing, they'll be listening to the music.
Yeah.
You'll see adults singing along to the songs.
Yeah.
And
We're all guilty of
mentioning
that, yeah.
mentioning like the references to the certain drugs. And so they start normalizing it, and so they start thinking it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's not okay for us in the sense where we don't normalize it because when we grew up, many people didn't know about marijuana
Yeah.
till they got a certain age.
Yeah.
And maybe in middle school, maybe in high school.
Yeah.
But now you go, the 3rd graders, you know, will be tabling, and then I would just clearly ask them, do you know anything about drugs? And they'll start telling you, like, the names of it. They'll start
As
saying,
early as 3rd grade.
oh, yeah, I mean,
Maybe even younger?
Maybe even younger. And so they'll
Yeah.
start saying, I like it when they say, like, designer drugs, like Molly. They'll start saying
Wow.
Molly, or they'll start saying ecstasy. And I'm just like,
Wow.
I didn't know that when I was their age.
Yeah.
Again, though, it's because the music, the platform, social
Yeah.
media, all of this is what they're being exposed to.
Yeah.
And the thing is that let's say if you're a parent
Yeah.
and you say, okay, well, you know what, my kids don't even have a tablet, they don't have a phone. But the thing is that it just takes one student in that classroom to mention something for
Yeah.
another student to be curious about it.
That's true. Curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
And so then there was an incident where one of the students, this was in an elementary school, I asked him, do you have any more questions? And then one student said like, oh, what about galaxy gas? So galaxy gas is inhalant, which has nitrous oxide.
Wow.
And I asked him, did you happen to see that one TikTok? And he said, yes, the one where it was at a school setting. The student did it, and he fell. He started falling, right? Because it's like nitrous oxide to your head. It's like you're getting a high. Your brain is like in a way almost shutting down, because there's not enough air going to your brain.
Yeah.
But again, though,
That's
it's
another
like
way.
the kids are seeing it. And so we had to have these conversations. So even if there was just that one student
Yes.
who said that one thing, and maybe everybody else is clueless.
Yeah.
But now every single student is gonna be asking, well, what is that?
What is that video?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is that? What is he talking about?
Yeah.
And then that's the curiosity, the brain is functioning.
So to sum it up, kids know about drugs because of our entertainment industry,
Exactly.
social media, TikTok, their friends, everywhere. It's around them. So even if it's not in your home, they know about it.
Exactly.
So to tell a parent, talk to your kids about drugs and the dangers of it would be something to say. Even if you don't do it in your home, the kids are hearing about it.
The kids are hearing.
The kids are hearing about it, which is why we're talking about this today. So another quick question: what are the different types of drugs that parents need to know about? Like if I'm a parent, I don't do it, so it's hard to know.
Yeah.
What should I be looking for?
So with the really young ones, the thing that you should look into is the pins, as in electronic cigarettes. Well, not that exact.
But it looks like a pen?
It could. It could. That's the thing, though, is that we've seen modifications on some of them. We've seen how kids are smart.
Yeah.
They're really smart. Not maybe the elementary kids, but once you start getting to like the middle school and high school, you figure out ways to get stuff, to do stuff. You figure out how to beat the system. It's like the system is creating a certain way, and you figure out, okay, well, I still want to do this. That's most likely the addiction talking. And then I'm going to figure out how to do it. And so I see where people they could smoke off of a soda can.
Okay.
It's like you get a soda can from the street, you make some holes, you could put some marijuana in, maybe even meth, you could smoke it.
So as a parent, you look out for different ways where kids can smoke. And inhale, kind of like vaping, because we had another episode on vaping.
Yeah.
So kind of like vaping.
Yeah, so just looking through like their school supplies. I don't think people always say, oh, well, that's invasion of privacy. But the thing is, I feel like as a parent, you should have set rules in your house and make them realize at a very young age that these are the rules of the house. And it's not that there's no trust.
Yeah.
It's just that you trust your child, but you don't trust people around.
Yeah.
That's the thing sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's about being able to trust, having that conversation with them, trusting them, but at the same time telling them like, well, these are the house rules.
Yeah.
Just like there's rules in the house, there's rules in the streets, and you have to just abide by them.
Yeah, and it's very important because and I probably will repeat this a lot of times, that our job as parents is to protect the kids from themselves.
Yeah.
To protect, like I'm gonna protect my son from him because he's not fully developed. How long does it take for a brain to fully develop? Till they're 25?
Yeah.
For the frontal lobes that discuss all those reasonings and stuff like that. So it's our job to keep our kids safe from themselves because they are going to get curious. They are going to get interested on what everybody else is doing, and it's very normal.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent out there and you're wondering, should I look through my kids' things, you have the right to do that. Now, I do believe that you can be honest with them and say, this is an open home and we will be doing that. You don't have to do it sneakingly, but kids are smart and they will do, but it's okay because as long as they know that in your house you're going to be an active parent involved in their well-being, then that's clear, overall. Okay, another question about different drugs. How do you talk to how, as a parent, how do I talk to my kids about the dangers of using drugs?
Many times these kids, they're the experts, these youth. They know what's going on. Now it depends on the relationship you have with your child, because sometimes some of the kids, their parents ask them something and they kind of shut down and they don't really listen. And they'll see like, yeah, yeah, mom, okay. Yeah, I already know that, yeah, okay. And so it's kind of making them their experts and be like, hey, I heard of this, or hey, what is this, or what is that? Kind of giving them the panel for them to be able to talk about it if they don't know about it yet. When you're talking to like the little ones, it's a little different because it's just being able to have conversations about them. We do have Red Ribbon Week at every single school, and when we have that month, you could talk about it and be like, hey, what did you learn about Red Ribbon Week? Where did they teach you? What drugs have you heard of? Because I think that sometimes even students don't realize that alcohol is a drug.
Yes.
But we normalize it at the parties and they
Yes.
get together. Even nowadays, a lot of people are drinking publicly.
Yeah.
And so then again, they're growing up with that. And then they start thinking, okay, it's normal for somebody to have a tall can at a bus stop or on the bus or on the park. And so a lot of youth, I'll sometimes see them. Now, I don't know how exactly old they are, because they could be a little bit older than they could already graduate high school or be already an adult. But you'll see them like with bags. They'll have buzz balls. They'll have something they're gonna smoke. And the thing is that to me, it's sad that they're so young. And instead of focusing on maybe helping themselves grow, helping out their families, helping out their friends in a more positive way, they're stuck going to the park, and you see them and they look so young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's tough.
Yeah,
It's
it becomes
tough.
very difficult
Yeah.
because I don't think they realize the dangers and how it affects their future.
Exactly.
Right. So I have a little bit of data based on the Drug Enforcement Administration on future risks. So, and this is not something that the kids, they don't think they're ever going to get old, right? We never think we're going to get old, and then
Then you get old.
get old, and it happens.
Yeah.
So, chronic diseases, the long-term use of substance like tobacco, alcohol increases the risk of cancer, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses. And then the reduced quality of life. Long-term drug use often leads to poor physical health, decreased life expectancy, and diminished life satisfaction. And then just the general impact that parental drug use can have on the children.
Yeah.
Neglect, and again, I don't want parents to hear this and feel like they're being attacked, because that's not what this is for.
No. Yeah.
This is for the support services that we want to share that are out there, if anybody wants them.
Yeah.
But there are generational impacts. Like a lot of times what I see happening is, like at the quinceañeras, at different parties, parents are drinking, and that's what a lot of people do to have fun on the weekends, right?
It's a social thing.
It's a social thing.
Definitely.
But one of the effects to that is the kids are watching.
Yeah.
And a lot of times as the kids start getting older, the parents are saying, you're not allowed to drink. But what have they been seeing since they were 2 or since they were born? That's just what you do. You go out, you drink, and people get drunk, and then it just becomes normalized.
It does.
So
Yeah.
I'm not judging. I'm not here to say, I'm just saying it's good to be aware.
Yeah.
Like, just be cautious, because kids are watching everything. And I do feel that either alcohol or other forms of, like, a lot of people don't think marijuana use is bad, right? But I do believe that that's a gateway to other drugs.
Yeah.
Other harder drugs. And what we don't want as a district is for students not to be successful, because we see students that aren't successful due to the substance abuse or the mental health that it connects. It brings it, or vice versa. The mental health can be the reason why people use substance abuse. We had another guest speaker that said that a person uses substance abuse to forget some of the trauma, and different things that happen.
Yeah.
But today we're here to tell you that no matter the reason, whatever it is, the data, it's out there, it's dangerous, we want to help. We want to support, and that's why we're here. That's the overall goal to today's podcast. It's dangerous. There's a lot of things out there, but we want to make sure that all our parents know that there are resources out there. If you at any point need support on how to talk to your children, we have different workshops that happen throughout our district. We have different resources. We have different people that are out there to support you and guide you if you need direct support. One of the things that we as a district do is our health collaborative. So can you talk a little bit about you do a lot of prevention work, but what kind of intervention work do you guys do for students that do need it?
Yeah, so we have a health collaborative, and they're amazing. And these agencies, when a student either gets caught at school, either they find out because the parent might have said something that they told the school, hey, my child they got caught smoking weed, they were caught drinking. We have a lot of agencies here at our school district, and I think this school district is amazing in the sense that we have so much to offer.
Yes.
So then the administration will take the lead and they'll send out a house referral. Then it will come to us. Hugo will take care of the process, and then we'll have a meet with one of our health collaboratives, one of our organizations. And there's so many of them, but I'm very grateful for them because they do a lot of the intervention part. If it's either at our school sites or at their site. And I feel like having these organizations keep coming to our school district, having them come to our school sites and talk to the students, because they also address those conversations different.
Yes.
Sometimes they could be very hands-on, sometimes they could be more visual,
Yes.
but a lot of the kids, they like it.
Yes.
And they like it, and they like hearing not just me and Hugo, but they like to hear, other organizations. And it's so good to have them around, because then it gives the youth more. Oh wow, like there's all these different people that are doing the same work, but different organizations, and it's giving them a more positive look into life, or even work opportunities for later on in life, or education opportunities for life.
Yes, absolutely. We're very grateful to our 40 plus agencies that we have partnerships with to provide different resources for our families, because at the end of the day, we're a school district and we want to make sure students graduate, right?
Yes.
We want to make sure that students are able to be successful adults, but we know that life is hard.
It is.
Life is hard. There are many challenges, and we as a district want to support you. We want to help you as parents, as students, whoever's listening to this, know that we're here to support and guide and help. That's the purpose, again, for this podcast, is just to bring resources, bring awareness to the dangerous topics that are around us, every day, that we see every day affecting our youth. But we're here to tell you that there is hope. If you're hearing this and you need some support, we ask that you go to our website, www.mylusd.org. If you click on Student Services, there's different resources there that can help you. There's a substance abuse page, a mental health substance abuse, mental health collaborative. So there's different resources out there for all of our families. So again, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, because we want to make sure that our families continue watching us so they can get the quick services, the quick resources and tips. But what would you give as your final 3 tips to families today? Like, if you're a parent, you're like, look, give me the top 3 tips that I should do as a parent.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Just have a really good open communication. I understand a lot of parents, you work, you're tired, you have a lot going on, you have more than one child. And I think that sometimes kids, the way that you interact with the students, they might have a different idea in their mind. I hear sometimes parents thinking that they're great parents, they provide a lot for the students, but sometimes how the students actually feel, it's very different. And with that said, I think that it's good to have conversations and ask them, how do you feel? And listen to them. That's so important nowadays, because a lot of these students, they don't know how to express emotions. And then sometimes when The reason why a lot of people do drugs is because it makes them feel good. I mean, that's the point. And so when the kids who are going through trauma, with students who are going through it, and they try it, they try their smoking marijuana, they try alcohol. It's like their brain telling them, "We're like, where have you been my whole life? Like this feels good. It feels really good." And so then it starts an addiction at such a young age. Having that communication with your children, talking about drugs, especially with marijuana being very popular now, especially with it being medicinal and non-medicinal use, we gotta have those conversations with them, have open communication with them. Sometimes you have to be the parent and you have to set the rules and make sure that you don't break them, because then they'll also know that, and then they'll be like, oh well, if mom doesn't let me, I know dad will. And at the end, and then also, I know I'm gonna take a tip from Dr. Martinez. She said once, she said that I'm not talking to the 14-year-old, the 13-year-old I see right now in front of me. The advice I'm giving to you is the person, the 40-year-old, the 35-year-old, who later on in life, as you grow and you don't take any substances that will change your mental health behavior, will recognize and be like, oh, now I got it. Now I know what it meant. And so just keep doing the good job parents are doing, and keep bringing them to school as students. And if you need help, please ask, because there's a lot of services here at the school district.
Yes, thank you. That very nicely said. Yes, we're here to support you and we're here to help you. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you tune in to our next episode taking place next week. So again, if you need resources, www.mylusd.org. Thank you and have a great day.